You will never rise above the man you lie to, and the first lie you ever told was to yourself. You said you'd start tomorrow. You said you were trying. You said you weren't ready, but one day you would be. And the lie multiplied. It dressed itself as strategy. It called itself preparation. It used noble language to justify spiritual laziness. And now you stand in front of the mirror with results that don't match your words. That mirror doesn't reflect what the world did to you. It reflects the lies you accepted, the excuses you baptized as effort, the weakness you defended like it was principle. But today, the illusion dies, because no man can build power while protecting delusion. No man can become unstoppable while defending softness with affirmations. The most dangerous voice is the quiet one in your mind that says, "I'm doing enough," when your results scream otherwise. And until that voice is silenced, you are not free. In this speech, I will kill every lie that has robbed you. And when it ends, there will only be two men left, the one you used to be and the one you finally decided to become. The man who tells himself he's preparing while avoiding action is not preparing, he is hiding. The man who says he's building but has no results, no schedule, no output is not building. He is performing success without becoming it. This is why you feel the internal war. This is why your confidence rots in secret. Because deep inside you know the truth. You know you could be more. You know you're living beneath your potential. You know there are hours you wasted, goals you abandoned, disciplines you've justified away. And that inner conflict is not fate. It is the friction of self-deception. Men believe that poverty is created by the world. They believe that success is for the lucky, that results belong to the gifted. But the truth is simpler and sharper. Poverty is rooted in personal lies. Lies about effort, lies about time, lies about readiness, lies about desire, lies about who you are and what you're doing. No enemy has ever stolen more than your own self-delusion. Look at your life. Look at your schedule. Look at your habits, your thoughts, your patterns. Are they aligned with what you say you want? Or are they aligned with the man you used to be, the one you promised to bury but still protect? The truth is in your rituals. And if your rituals are soft, your results will scream the truth no matter what your mouth declares. You say you want wealth, but do your decisions obey that claim? You say you want discipline, but is your schedule written in stone or sand? You say you want purpose, but do your actions serve it, or do they serve comfort disguised as progress? You cannot speak one world and live another, and if you try, you will collapse beneath your contradiction. This is not a motivational speech. This is a courtroom. You are on trial. Your past decisions are the evidence. Your excuses are the testimony. Your results are the verdict. And the sentence is simple. Keep lying and stay bound. Tell the truth and begin to build. But know this, truth has a cost. It will kill your ego. It will burn your story. But it will also unlock your freedom. The man who lies to the world is foolish. But the man who lies to himself is damned. Because self-deception is the only prison that feels like peace. It offers comfort while it kills you. It lets you sleep while it robs you. It allows you to survive while you forget how to live. It is the soft poison, and most men drink it daily because the taste is easier than the truth. But today, no more. Today I strip away every layer of fantasy and leave you naked with your reality. You will not be comforted. You will not be praised. You will not be coddled. You will be confronted, because transformation does not begin with belief. It begins with truth, brutal, merciless, undeniable truth, the kind that shatters illusions and leaves only law behind. You are not a child. You are not a victim. You are not a product of circumstance. You are a builder, and a builder does not hope. He commands. A builder does not drift, he designs. A builder does not lie to himself. He speaks truth until it shapes steel in his spine. If you wish to rise, you must kill the lie that told you softness was safety. This speech will not teach you how to become rich with wishful thinking. It will not sell you comfort disguised as confidence. It will expose the very lies you've used to avoid the pain of change. It will tear down every excuse you've called strategy. It will pull you out of hiding and force you to face the man you've been protecting from growth. It will show you the truth, that you have time, but you waste it, that you have power, but you fear it, that you have decisions, but you delay them, that you have purpose, but you deny it in favor of pleasure. And until you speak the truth about what you are, you will never become who you were meant to be. From here we begin the transformation in 9 parts, 9 lies that must be exposed, 9 patterns that must be destroyed, 9 laws that must be obeyed. Each one will cut, each one will hurt, but each one will build. Because until you confront the foundation, you cannot build the tower. Until you cleanse the delusion, you cannot command dominion. We begin with the greatest lie of all, the lie that you have time, the deception that whispers, later, the illusion that says your dreams will wait, the fantasy that tomorrow is promised. You will see how this lie is the silent killer of ambition. Then we will destroy trying, not knowing, comfort, and the lie of your best. One by one, we eliminate the enemy. We will then strip the mask off readiness, expose the soft standard of enough, and destroy the final chain, the lie that you are a victim. At the end, I will show you how to kill these lies forever. I will give you the law that replaces them. I will give you the identity that emerges when the illusion dies. And I will give you the tools to walk in it daily. But this begins not with information. It begins with decision. A decision to stop protecting weakness with words. A decision to stop hiding behind progress reports that are hollow. A decision to destroy every thought that permits delay. A decision to choose truth, not because it feels good, but because it builds power. Say this aloud now, slowly, deliberately. With conviction, I speak the truth even when it hurts. I destroy the lie and uncover the man beneath it. Say it again. This is not a phrase, this is an oath. I speak the truth even when it hurts. I destroy the lie and uncover the man beneath it. Now we begin. The first and most seductive lie you ever believed was this: I have time. It sounds wise. It sounds patient. It sounds strategic. But it is none of those things. It is death spoken in delay. It is comfort wrapped in chains. It is a soft voice that leads to a hard life. No lie has stolen more destinies than the illusion of later. You say you will start next week. You say you will get serious next month. You say this year will be different. But years have passed. Dreams have faded. And still, you wait. You call it timing. You call it preparation. But I call it what it is, self-betrayal. Because every minute spent stalling your calling is a minute invested in regret. The successful man does not live by calendar. He lives by command. He does not ask if it's the right time. He declares the time right by moving in it. When Carnegie began, he was not ready. When Ford began, he had no clear path. When Lincoln rose, he had no support. But they moved. And in movement, they found momentum. In decision, they found dominion. The weak man waits for ideal conditions, but the builder understands. Time is a tool. It is to be wielded, not observed. You do not wait for power. You use time to build it. And every day you delay is not neutral. It is destruction in disguise. It is a brick laid in the grave of your potential. Because delay is never passive. It is active disobedience to purpose. You may think you are being wise by waiting, but the truth is you are scared. You are scared of failing. You are scared of changing. You are scared of exposure. So you clothe your fear in the respectable garment of not yet. But no matter how noble the excuse sounds, delay is still treason against your dream. It is disguised cowardice. Think back. How many decisions have you postponed? How many ideas have died in your hands? Not because they weren't worthy, but because you weren't willing. How many mornings did you say, I'll start tomorrow? And how many tomorrows have passed with nothing built? You didn't run out of time. You let time run over you. Time is not a servant. It is not your assistant. It does not bend to your emotions. It rewards only those who act. That's why success belongs to the urgent, the decisive, the man who understands that each second carries spiritual weight. You are not promised another month, another week, another hour, and you dare postpone purpose. Hear this now. Time is not your ally unless you command it. If you do not control your time will control your destiny. And if you permit yourself to drift, if you allow delay to become a habit, then you are not building. You are burying the man you could have been under the calendar you never honored. I do not speak this to shame you. I speak it to awaken you, because you still have breath, you still have strength, you still have command. But that power means nothing if not moved through. You must move now, not after the next birthday, not when the fear fades, not when it feels easier. Now, or you will live beneath your calling until you are buried beside it. Say this: I move now, delay is a lie. Again, what must be done tomorrow, I do today. This is not a motivational phrase. This is wartime law. The law of men who conquer, the law of men who rise, the law of men who refuse to be fooled by the clock. Because when the man who moves stands beside the man who waits, the world follows the one in motion. The second lie, the one that sounds noble but destroys silently, is this: I'm trying. It is a lie dressed in effort, a deception cloaked in motion. It looks like progress. It sounds like commitment, but it is poison. Trying is not the language of success. It is the vocabulary of hesitation, of mental poverty, of a man who wants results without becoming the man required. You say you're trying, but what does that mean? You read a book, you wrote a goal, you said a few affirmations, you took some actions, but not the action. You moved, but not decisively. You executed, but only when it felt good. That is not doing. That is dabbling. That is dipping your toe in destiny, while keeping one foot anchored in fear. Trying is a smoke screen. It protects you from judgment. It gives you an out, because if you fail, you say, well, at least I tried. But here's the truth. Trying is not the standard. Finishing is. Completion is. Obedience to purpose is. And if you are still using the word try, you have not yet crossed the threshold into identity. To try is to admit your foot is still halfway out the door. It means you are still negotiating, still deciding, still waiting for permission from your emotions to become the man you claim to be. But the builder never waits. The doer never debates. The man who commands does not try. He decides and he does again and again until the result exists. Thomas Edison did not say, I'll try to invent the light bulb. He said, I will find the way. He failed thousands of times, but he never failed to act, never failed to commit, never failed to declare. And that is why history remembers his light, while it forgets the millions of men who tried and disappeared in the fog of effort without endurance. Let me make it clear. Intention without completion is not noble. It is treason. It is theft of the vision you were given. It is the burial of potential beneath the mask of busyness. The man who says he is trying must ask himself, what am I actually producing? What measurable evidence does your life offer that says, I am becoming powerful? You see, trying protects the ego. It says, I'm not lazy, I'm working on it. But working on it without finishing it is the same as not doing it at all. A bridge halfway built collapses. A promise halfway kept destroys trust. A mission halfway pursued breeds failure and self-hatred. There is no prize for effort, only for results. If you think trying is enough, you have not yet become serious. The serious man removes the option of failure. He burns the bridge behind him. He speaks only words that reinforce action. He does not comfort himself with intention. He measures his life by what he executes, not by what he considered. So what does trying look like? It looks like starting a project and quitting when it becomes boring. It looks like journaling a vision and never planning it. It looks like training hard for 2 weeks, then vanishing for a month. It looks like reading books, nodding your head, saying, "That's good," and then returning to old patterns that have never served you. To try is to touch the edge of transformation, but refuse to walk through the fire. To try is to acknowledge what's possible, but reject the pain of consistency. To try is to tell your subconscious that escape is always an option. That's why most men never change, because their mind has never been given the command, I do, I finish, I become. From this moment forward, remove the word try from your language. It is a virus. It weakens every statement it touches. Replace it with I do. Replace it with I complete. Replace it with I act regardless of mood. This is not semantics. This is programming. And your subconscious obeys the words you speak in repetition. Because a man becomes what he declares. And a man who constantly says, I'm trying, becomes a man who never finishes anything. A man who says I do becomes a builder, a finisher, a force. You must now speak only words that align with your vision. And trying must die if your purpose is to live. Let me be blunt. You are not trying. You are choosing. You are choosing not to go all in. You are choosing to keep one foot in comfort. You are choosing to give yourself an emotional back door in case it gets hard. But until you close that door, until you lock it and throw away the key, you are still drifting. Listen to this warning. Trying is the language of the average. And the average man is not poor because of lack of intelligence or ambition. He is poor because he accepts partial progress as success. He feels noble for attempting. He rewards himself for starting. But he never receives wealth because wealth belongs to those who complete. You must become allergic to unfinished work. You must see incomplete goals as dishonor. You must treat half effort as theft, because it is. Every time you try but don't finish, you steal from your future. You teach your identity that you are a man who can't be trusted to follow through. And over time, your self-image begins to match your inconsistency. But the good news is this. You can flip the switch. Now, you don't need more motivation. You don't need another podcast. You don't need someone to convince you. You need to declare war on every action that doesn't lead to completion. You need to look at your to-do list and say, this will be done now, not someday, not when I feel better. Now, say this aloud. I do not try, I command. I finish what others begin. Say it again, because this is not a phrase. It is the breaking of the second lie. I do not try, I command. I finish what others begin. You are not trying anymore. You are becoming. And becoming is a decision, repeated in action, enforced by law, completed in blood, sweat, and follow-through. There is no going back. The third lie, subtle, respected, and deadly, is the phrase, I don't know how. It sounds humble. It sounds honest. It even sounds intelligent. But it is not. It is a smokescreen. It is spiritual paralysis. It is the excuse of a man who has confused learning with leading, thinking with moving, and has chosen hesitation over dominion. You were not born to know. You were born to act. Action is the seed of mastery. Action is the language of belief. And action, not knowledge, builds wealth. The man who says, I don't know how, has accepted blindness. But the man who moves, who speaks a definite aim and acts before clarity, is the man who awakens intelligence within himself. Knowledge is not the beginning. Decision is the beginning. You move first. You decide first. You risk first. And the path reveals itself as you walk it. This is the truth every successful man has lived. Every builder, every visionary, every empire maker began as a man with less information than he wanted, but with more faith than the average man could understand. Henry Ford did not know how to engineer every piece of the automobile. He surrounded himself with men who did. He did not delay action until he held every answer. He moved, and in motion, the minds aligned. In movement, the resources gathered. In decision, the road formed. He commanded results before he fully understood the path. I don't know how is not the voice of wisdom. It is the voice of doubt in disguise. It is the subconscious demand for permission to delay. Because if you believe the lie that you must learn first, then you will always have an excuse not to move. You will always find something else to research. And in that research, your dream dies. Men who wait to know before they act will live as observers, not creators. They will speak with wisdom, but possess no results. They will read about power, but never wield it. They will become experts in theory, poor in practice. And the world does not reward intellect. It rewards application. Faith in action is the highest intelligence known to man. Your mind will never give you full permission. Your logic will never be satisfied. There will always be doubt, always be missing pieces, always be confusion. And this is where you rise, not after the confusion clears, but through it. You declare, I will build, and then you build. And as you build, the answers arrive. This is the law of infinite intelligence. It responds to movement. It responds to definiteness. It responds to belief acted upon. But it does not answer to fear. It does not whisper to the hesitant. It does not guide the man who will not step. You receive revelation after you commit, not before. That is the difference between leaders and followers. Think of the man who says, I don't know how to start a business. What he truly means is, I am afraid to begin without certainty. Think of the man who says, I don't know how to lead. He means, I am afraid to look foolish. And so long as these lies are tolerated, the man remains in the same place year after year, decade after decade. You must replace the phrase, I don't know how, with this declaration. I will find out by doing. And say it again. I begin before I am ready. Every step you take generates power. Every motion you make builds faith. Every act of defiance against the fear of the unknown strengthens your identity. And identity, not intellect, is what builds results. You are not paid for what you know. You are paid for what you execute. You must understand this law. Knowledge flows to the committed, not the curious, not the hesitant, not the reader who never moves, but the man who plants his flag in a decision and says, I will build. That man begins to attract answers, solutions, minds, miracles. The universe responds to definiteness. It rejects drift. Most men are trapped in preparation hell. They are obsessed with courses, certifications, tutorials. They tell themselves they're getting ready. But what they're really doing is postponing the discomfort of real responsibility. Because if you begin, you must become. And becoming threatens the old self they have not yet buried. But not you, not anymore. From this moment on, you reject the lie. You are no longer the man who says, I don't know how. You are the man who says, I will move anyway. I will speak the command. I will act by faith. I will become. That is the law you must obey if you wish to hold power. Burn this into your speech. What I lack in knowledge, I make up in action. My ignorance is defeated by movement. I begin before I am ready. Answers follow action. I do not wait, I walk. This is how empires begin. Not with degrees, not with textbooks, not with tutorials, but with one man who stood up in the middle of doubt and said, I will not wait to know. I will begin and I will finish. That man must now be you. There is a lie so popular, so praised, so deeply planted in the modern man's mind that he guards it as virtue. It is the lie that says, comfort is safety. He believes that if he avoids discomfort, he preserves his peace. If he escapes pressure, he maintains order. But nothing could be further from the truth. Comfort is not safety. It is decay. You were not created to float. You were not made to survive. You were not designed to coast from ease to ease, from entertainment to escape, from pleasure to passivity. And yet the average man has made this his goal. He calls it balance. He calls it freedom. But the truth is, he has simply made comfort his God, and that God demands sacrifice. That sacrifice is always the same: your purpose, your growth, your wealth, your destiny. Because every time you choose ease over effort, every time you choose relaxation over responsibility, every time you choose to take it easy, you are saying to your dream, "You are not worth the pain of pursuit," and the dream dies a little more. Do you want to know where mediocrity lives? It lives in couches, in air conditioning, in late mornings and unearned nights off. It lives in skipping the workout. It lives in scrolling when you should be selling. It lives in watching another man live his dream while you explain why it's not your time yet. Comfort is the cradle of the coward. You are not safe in comfort. You are being slowly, silently destroyed. Because a man is not built in peace, he is forged in fire. And that fire is friction, pressure, resistance. It is the demand of discipline when you don't feel like it. It is the weight of responsibility on your shoulders. It is the heat of growth. That is where greatness lives. Rockefeller did not build an empire by staying comfortable. He dominated oil through commanded discomfort. He learned to manage complexity. He leaned into chaos. He welcomed the fatigue of long work, the pressure of high risk, the loneliness of leadership. Why? Because he knew what few men are willing to accept. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Let me teach you a law. All growth occurs in resistance. You do not grow muscles without strain. You do not gain wealth without risk. You do not develop character without challenge. Anything that doesn't stretch you shrinks you. The man who avoids challenge thinks he's staying the same, but he is not. He is shrinking into irrelevance. If your goals don't scare you, they're too small. If your habits don't stretch you, they're too weak. If your days feel too easy, it means you've stopped expanding. Comfort sedates you. It whispers that everything is fine while it dismantles your potential in silence. And by the time you feel the damage, the years are gone, and so is the man you could have become. You must become committed, not comfortable. And those two words do not coexist. A committed man does not seek ease. He seeks elevation. He does not seek breaks. He seeks battle. He does not run from discomfort. He commands it like a soldier commands terrain, because he understands this law. Discomfort now is wealth later. Stop asking to feel good. Start demanding that you become good. Stop chasing the soft life. Start building the strong life. That means waking earlier. That means finishing what you start. That means cutting the things that make you passive. That means choosing the thing that grows you, even when it's the last thing you want to do. The average man will call this too much. He will say, "You have to enjoy life," but he does not enjoy life. He escapes it. He uses comfort to distract himself from the shame of unfulfilled purpose. His joy is short. His rest is haunted because his soul remembers what he ran from. And the man who runs from pressure never finds peace. Say this now. Comfort is decay. I choose growth. I pursue discomfort that transforms me. Again, comfort is decay. I choose growth. I pursue discomfort that transforms me. Burn this into your daily law. When it feels hard, you are exactly where you belong. When it feels intense, it means you are becoming. And when it feels like too much, it is only testing if you are worthy of more. The lie has been exposed. Now live the law. There is a lie more dangerous than failure because it feels like virtue. It is the lie that says, "I'm trying my best." It sounds noble. It sounds responsible. But more often than not, it is a shield, a mask, a final line of defense used to protect mediocrity from exposure. Because no man who is truly executing ever needs to explain that he's trying. Trying your best is not measurable. It is not specific. It is not accountable. It is a statement designed to silence judgment and justify stagnation. But results do not respond to how hard you tried. Results respond to how precisely, how persistently, how intensely you executed. That is the difference between the man who grows and the man who excuses. The man who says, "I'm trying my best," is usually saying, "Stop holding me to a standard." But I will hold you to a standard, because the world will, wealth will, purpose will. And if you cannot be confronted without defending your feelings, you are not building. You are pretending to build while secretly begging for sympathy. Let me say this plainly. Your best is not defined by how much effort you feel. It is defined by how much result you produce. A man who sweats without finishing is not a master. He is a struggler. And struggle is not a badge of honor if it leads to nothing. Pain must be paired with performance, or it is just a form of suffering. Look at Barnes. He did not show up to Edison's office and say, "I'm trying hard." He showed up with obsession, with silence, with execution. He offered not effort, but evidence. He didn't need pity. He didn't explain. He simply worked, persisted, studied, acted, and eventually stood beside one of the greatest builders in history. That is what real best looks like. It is silent. It is focused. It is complete. It does not beg to be understood. It does not announce its labor. It delivers its fruit. The man who is truly doing his best does not say it. He shows it in his results, in his consistency, in his disciplined lifestyle, and his refusal to compromise. You say you're trying your best. Prove it. Track your hours. Track your output. Track your schedule, your spending, your thoughts, your habits. Show me your rituals. Show me your sacrifices. Show me how your days align with your definite chief aim. If you cannot, then what you're calling your best is merely your most comfortable level of effort. The truth is, most men don't give their best. They give what they can without breaking a sweat. They give just enough to silence their guilt, just enough to appear noble, just enough to avoid change. But the man who transforms his life does not stop at enough. He demands of himself a higher law, a law of excellence. Excellence is not a mood. It is not a good day. It is not a motivational rush. It is a standard, and that standard must be enforced every hour of every day. Your meals must obey it. Your mornings must obey it. Your habits must reflect it. Your finances must align with it. Because when you live by a standard, your identity begins to shift. You begin to expect more, to allow less, to tolerate nothing that weakens. And when the temptation comes to say, "I'm doing enough," you remember, enough is the border of mediocrity. Enough is the stopping point of the average man. And you are not here to be average. You are here to build a life that echoes beyond your lifetime. Say it now. My best is not a feeling, it is a result. I rise beyond effort, I finish with excellence. Again, my best is not a feeling, it is a result. I rise beyond effort, I finish with excellence. No more excuses, no more emotional shielding. You are either doing what must be done or defending your refusal to do it. But you do not get both. You do not get the comfort of explanation and the reward of achievement. You must choose, and if you choose power, if you choose legacy, then your new law must be, I demand results. I measure excellence. I finish everything I touch. Only then will the world begin to reflect your standard. Only then will people follow your lead. Only then will wealth begin to obey your name. This lie is dead now. Let it rot in the grave of your old self. There is a lie so well rehearsed, so commonly accepted, so deep within the minds of the drifting that it feels like truth. The lie is this: I'm not ready yet. It is the soft whisper of hesitation disguised as wisdom. It is the justification for pause. But the man who accepts it dies slowly, because life will not wait for you to feel ready. There is no readiness. There is only decision. Readiness is not a moment that arrives. It is a moment you declare. The man who waits to be ready is the man who gives control to fear. He studies endlessly. He overthinks. He delays, and all the while the doors of destiny close silently behind him. Not because he lacked potential, but because he refused to move. You were not born prepared. No one was. The most powerful men in history stepped into storms with trembling hands and fiery hearts. Lincoln was not ready to lead a nation. Carnegie was not ready to lead empires. Edison was not ready to light the world, but they acted. They obeyed purpose before they understood the path. And because they moved, the path obeyed. Fear will always say, "You're not ready." Doubt will always demand one more plan, one more day, one more delay. But you must speak louder. You must command, "I am ready now," not because I have everything, but because I've decided to begin. That declaration is more powerful than any preparation you could ever gather. Readiness is a myth used to escape accountability, because if you are not ready, then you are not responsible. If you are not ready, then your failure can be forgiven. But understand this law. The man who becomes powerful is the man who accepts responsibility before he feels qualified. He decides to move and becomes qualified in the process. You must stop asking yourself, "Am I ready?" You must ask instead, "What is the next action that proves I believe?" Because belief is not emotion. Belief is not excitement. Belief is not a feeling. Belief is movement. If you believe in your calling, you act. If you believe in your future, you execute. And if you hesitate, you don't believe. You say you need more confidence. You don't. Confidence is a byproduct of movement. Every time you act, your identity upgrades. Every time you move forward in fear, your soul says, "I am the type of man who acts despite resistance." And over time, that repetition builds a self-image that can no longer be shaken. Do you want confidence? Act while afraid. Do you want clarity? Decide before certainty. Do you want strength? Walk through the thing that terrifies you. Do not wait for readiness. Create it by walking into the storm. This is not motivational. This is mechanical. This is how power is built. Hill himself was not ready when Andrew Carnegie gave him the commission that would change his life. He had no money, no plan, no clear path. But he had one thing, willingness. And willingness backed by decision creates momentum. That momentum becomes identity. That identity begins to attract resources, people, and ideas. You must speak these affirmations aloud, not as poetry, but as command. I am ready now. I choose readiness. Fear does not dictate my movement. Say them again. Let them override the lie. I am ready now. I choose readiness. Fear does not dictate my movement. If you are still waiting, you are still lost. And the longer you wait, the stronger the lie becomes. The longer you delay, the more seductive hesitation feels. But hesitation is not safety. It is slow spiritual death. And every day you obey the lie, you drift further from the man you were meant to become. Readiness is not something you feel. It is something you decide. You declare it, and then you live in obedience to that declaration. That is law. That is how kings are made. The lie is dead. Now rise. The next lie is deadly, not because it sounds like weakness, but because it sounds like progress. It is the lie that says, I'm doing enough. It is the soft ceiling, the invisible chain, the final limit that most men never cross because they confuse activity with advancement, busyness with building, effort with elevation. You are not doing enough if you do not yet have what you said you would have. You are not doing enough if your days do not reflect your definite chief aim. You are not doing enough if your standard is built on comfort, routine, or emotional fatigue. You are not doing enough if your results remain the same. Enough is the language of the mediocre. Enough is the excuse of the man who has accepted half-finished dreams. Enough is the justification of the one who fears more demand, more weight, more pressure. He says, I'm already working hard. But the question is not how hard are you working? The question is how much is being built. Carnegie demanded more than motion. He demanded results. So did Schwab. They did not pay men for showing up. They paid them for commanding outcomes. You must learn to measure your life the same way, not by time spent, not by how tired you are, not by how consistent you feel, but by what has been built in cold, hard results. Audit your day. Did you rise early? Did you write your aim? Did you move without waiting to feel like it? Did you confront what you usually avoid? Did you produce something that can be measured, delivered, sold, or scaled? If not, your day was not enough. It may have been effort, but it was not execution. Execution is ruthless. It does not care about your feelings. It does not consider your history. It does not adjust itself to your narrative. It only asks one thing. Did you build what you said you would build? And if the answer is no, then you have not done enough, no matter how exhausted you feel. The world is not judging your internal effort. It is responding to your external discipline. Your words, your habits, your standards, your output. Stop begging the world to understand your pain. Start demanding that your performance makes explanation unnecessary. That is the language of the master. You must eliminate enough from your mind. Enough is a boundary designed by weakness. Enough is the line where the average man stops, where he breathes, where he begins justifying, slowing down, softening his tone, asking for breaks. You are not here to live at the line. You are here to destroy it. Say this aloud. I exceed minimums. I demand results. Enough is the enemy of excellence. Say it again. Burn it into your thinking. I exceed minimums. I demand results. Enough is the enemy of excellence. Your definite chief aim requires more than your current standard. It demands every hour be spent building, every thought be tied to creation, every action be calculated, every excuse be killed before it forms. That is what it means to live beyond the illusion of enough. You are not here to maintain. You are here to ascend. And ascent has no finish line. The moment you accept enough, you abandon the summit. The moment you say, that's all I've got, you've chosen to remain as you are, and what you are must die for who you are becoming to live, let the old belief burn. Let the comfort of adequacy die. You were not made to do just enough. You were made to over-deliver, to surpass, to shock the world with how much one man can produce through a mind on fire and a spirit bound by law. From this day forward, your measure is not effort, it is evidence. And if the evidence is missing, the work is not done. That is the standard now. That is the oath you must live by. There is a lie so dark, so deceptive, so comforting to the weak man's ego that it has ruined millions. It is the lie that says, I'm a victim of circumstance, a victim of upbringing, a victim of economy, a victim of what was done to him, said about him, taken from him. And it is this belief that kills his future because it lets him live without ownership. The man who believes he is a victim has one tragic comfort. He no longer needs to rise. He no longer needs to build. He no longer needs to demand. He has outsourced his power to the story, and the story becomes his cell. But let me speak it with brutal clarity. You are not a victim. You are the builder or the breaker of your life, and nothing else. Circumstances are not chains. They are tests. They are weights given to your soul for one purpose only, to strengthen or to suffocate based entirely on how you respond. The world is not your oppressor. Your mindset is. The world is not keeping you down. Your agreement with powerlessness is. And until you renounce that agreement, you remain bound. Abraham Lincoln was born into poverty, mocked, doubted, defeated. He buried a child, he lost elections. He was called unfit to lead, but he never called himself a victim. He chose to suffer with purpose rather than shrink into blame. And that decision, not his gifts, not his skills, not his resources, was what made him great. Victimhood is poison dressed in sympathy. It tells you that your excuses are valid, that your resentment is justified, that your inaction is excusable. But sympathy is not salvation. Sympathy is the bait that lures you into spiritual paralysis. And once you adopt the identity of the victim, you forfeit the crown of the victor. You say, but it's not my fault. No, maybe it wasn't, but it is still your responsibility, because freedom does not belong to the man who had an easy life. It belongs to the man who claims ownership no matter what. It belongs to the one who says, this is mine to fix. This is mine to face. This is mine to conquer. Responsibility is the gate to power. It is the moment you stop waiting to be rescued, the moment you stop replaying the injustice, the moment you stop asking why and start asking how. How do I rise? How do I repair? How do I rule this chaos? And the moment you ask those questions, you are no longer the victim. You are the architect. Victim thinking keeps men passive. It teaches them to wait. Wait for help. Wait for the world to change. Wait for someone to notice. But wealth does not wait. Purpose does not wait. God himself does not wait. He pours into those who move, who build, who accept the burden as the blessing. Say this aloud until your bones believe it. I build or destroy by my own hand. There are no victims in my mind, only builders. Again, until the spell of the lie is broken. I build or destroy by my own hand. There are no victims in my mind, only builders. From this day forward, you are not allowed to say, they did this to me. You are not allowed to say, I couldn't because. You are not allowed to retreat into the softness of blame. You are allowed only to rise, to plan, to produce, to confront, to correct, to own it all, until there is nothing left in you but responsibility and reward. This is the law. This is the freedom. This is the gate you walk through. You are not waiting to be freed. You are the liberator of your own life. The lie of victimhood is now dead. The identity of the builder must now be born. This is the last lie, and it is not a single sentence, but a system, a silent virus. It is not one excuse, but all of them combined. The lie that survives when all others die. The one that says, this is just who I am. It is the fatal agreement a man makes when he stops confronting himself. It is the spiritual suicide of identity, and it must be destroyed. Because who you are is not a permanent condition. It is not the sum of your failures. It is not your habits, your trauma, your upbringing, your reputation. Who you are is the man you decide to become, backed by law, action, and brutal self-truth. And until you declare war on the lies, you are nothing but their puppet. Poverty does not begin in money. It begins in tolerated delusion, the delusion that says trying is enough, that comfort is protection, that waiting is preparation, that others are to blame, that emotion equals effort, that fear is fact. These lies are not simply bad beliefs, they are your jailers, and everyone you keep makes you smaller. Greatness begins not with hope, but with violence against falsehood. Yes, violence, a holy aggression, a burning demand to expose every false identity, every soft excuse, every illusion that whispers, you are doing fine. Because you are not doing fine if you are still surrounded by lies. You are merely surviving. You are not yet alive. You must become the man who kills the lie, not entertains it, not analyzes it, kills it. How? With confrontation, with written law, with 90 days of ruthless obedience to truth, with silence, with effort measured only in results, with a definite chief aim carved so deeply into your mind that all illusions shatter on contact. This is your final law. No lies survive in my presence. I do not lie to myself about time. I do not lie to myself about effort. I do not lie to myself about fear. I do not lie to myself about comfort. I do not lie to myself about blame. I speak only what builds. I live only what proves. I am what I declare through disciplined action. You are no longer the man who says, I'm not ready. You are the man who declares readiness. You are no longer the man who hides behind trying. You are the man who commands results. You are no longer the man who asks for sympathy. You are the man who takes responsibility with silence and strength. Say this now. Say it from your chest. Say it until your old self begins to tremble. I speak only what builds. My word and my world are one. I walk in truth, and truth builds empires. Again, until the final lie dies, I speak only what builds. My word and my world are one. I walk in truth, and truth builds empires. Now here is what you must do. Write down every lie you've spoken to yourself, every excuse you've hidden behind, every phrase of weakness you've allowed. Write them all, then burn the paper. Stand over the ashes and say, "He is dead. The liar is dead. The builder now lives." And then replace each lie with a law. Write that law on your wall, your mirror, your door, your notebook. Live that law for 90 days. No deviation, no explanation, no softness, only obedience. Because identity is not built by insight, it is built by repetition. And only the man who repeats truth becomes free. You have walked through 9 gates. You have burned 9 lies. You now stand in front of a new world, a new identity, a new result. But this new life does not come from listening. It comes from execution, from schedule, from silence, from structure, from suffering that refines, from a standard that will scare you and save you. You are not the same man who began this journey. You cannot return to him. And if you do, if you return to the lie, you will not drift. You will drown. Because once truth is known, comfort is poison. And you now know, you now see. So you must now build. This is your last affirmation. Burn it into your spirit. I no longer negotiate with lies. I am the architect of truth. My words are law, and I obey. I walk in truth, and I walk in power. Now rise and let your life speak. Let your silence thunder. Let your results echo across this earth. Let the lie die, and let the builder live.